Hi, my name is Kieran Cooper, and I researched Lewis L. short story I made about him. Glass rained downward, littering the floor in glimmering light. I watched my wife Cordy, tears streaming down her soft, kind face, now ruined in a look of despair. Now throwing my small barber's name tag with the words Lewis L. Craven at me. "Lewis, you can't go, you'll be killed," she shouts at me. I look down once again at the letter in my hand. The letter were my military orders. I was being sent to the Western Front on the 14th of November. Today was the 7th, meaning I had one more week at home with my wife. Cord and I had many arguments over my being in the Army, but in the end, I had won, seeing that as a barber, I would most likely not be sent. This letter, though, changed everything. I knew I would most certainly die. I wasn't a superb fighter. I mean, I could hunt decent enough, but shooting a man was out of the question. I could only hope that I would be relatively safe and would be lucky enough to dodge disease and the rats. Despite this revelation of me being sent to my ultimate demise, I still had to go to work. So I simply lowered my head, walked over to my suitcase with my barberware, and said a quiet goodbye to my beloved wife. As I walked out of my house, I could see her quickly wiping away her tears and starting to clean the kitchen to prepare supper. At work, I acted much more resigned, and while most of my customers didn't notice, one customer, a big man whose store was across the street, bellowed in his deep baritone voice, "Lewis, what seems to be the problem? Normally you're cheerful about work. Has something bad happened to your wife? Cordy, was it?" No, I responded, now attempting to add some happiness to my voice. Of course, to no avail. I'm being sent to Europe on the 14th. As a barber, of course, but still. "Ah," he responds. "My son was sent to the war as an officer. He's working under General Pershing." "Oh, I've heard many things about him," I respond, thankful for the distraction. I continue with the day and go back home, eating supper with Cordy and then going to bed. I continue with the week, getting closer and closer to the 14th till it's the 11th of November. I was walking down the street toward my shop, but noticed people acting erratically around a newsstand. I walk over one and see what all the commotion was. When I reached there, I pushed past some of the people and grabbed a newspaper, to the distraught of a man running the stand trying to stop the surge of people. I quickly read the headline of the newspaper, and for the first time in those long, dreadful days, happiness blossomed in my heart. I quickly spin, now running back home, completely ignoring the man at the newsstand yelling at me that I need to pay for it. When I make it back home, I throw open the door, looking for my gorgeous Cordy. "Cordy," I cry out, watching as she runs from the kitchen, confused and concerned. "What is it, Lewis?" she asks. I could hear the sorrow in her voice, yet I knew this newfound information would replace the sorrow with joy. "Look, Cordy, look!" I shoved the newspaper into her hands as she slowly reads the newspaper headline. Her mouth opens wide with shock as she straight up drops the newspaper. She turns to me and engulfs me with a hug. "Lewis, this is amazing. Does this mean you won't have to go?" Suddenly, there was a knock on their door. I walked over to the door and opened it, seeing a lieutenant in their uniform with a small smile on his face. It's your lucky day, friend. Your orders have been canceled," he said. After that day, I would live on to 1949, dying at age 76.